Hi, my name is Lucy Ives, and the title of my new book is Cosmogony Stories. Well, they were all written out of a fear of not being good at writing short stories or not being able to write them at all. So they certainly have that in common. And I think that even though they each do this differently, they play with the form of the story. So, yeah, that's something that they all have in common, but they are somewhat disparate in themselves. Well, I like absurdity, and I think that that's where absurdity comes from, or maybe it comes from taking everyday things to kind of hyperbolic everydayness and taking and then I think that's where the strangeness comes from. So I'm not exactly sure that there's a pairing of things that are different, but maybe more driving at the strangeness that it is present within the everyday, or the uncanny in the everyday. Well, there's the question of length, and I guess it's harder to say something in a short space than it is in an extended space. I think we all experience that in different ways, and the short story needs a structure. That's the thing about it. You kind of can't go into it having absolutely no idea, what you're gonna do. So you can improvise to a certain extent, but at some point you have to leave the story again. So you have to know how you're going to get out. And with the novel, I find that you have more time to figure that out as you go along and you're writing, and you don't always have to know as much as you need to know with short stories. A writer that I might recommend to people is Mavis Gallant, if they are not familiar with her work. She's a really interesting short story writer. I also recently really enjoyed a collection of short stories in translation by Taeko Kono called Toddler Hunting that New Directions put out a little while ago. And Kono is a really fantastic Japanese writer who's less known in the US, and her novels are not in translation in English, but I recommend those as well. That short story collection is a strong taste, but I definitely recommend it. Well, there are many, but I have a kind of embarrassingly normal or average kind of response to this that probably a lot of people feel this way. I just endlessly fascinated by Nabokov, like sorry, not that interesting, but I love all the levels on which he fictionalizes. Whether the form of the book itself or within language, like his obsession with puns and mirroring and all of that stuff. Yeah, I just love it. Going outside and life. But aside from that, which I hope is next for everybody who's watching this, I have another novel that's coming out in 2022. And I'm trying to, also in my self-education project, I'm trying to teach myself how to write personal essays, which is a form that is not familiar to me at all. So check back in to see if I figure that out. Thank you so much for watching, and my book and others are available for purchase at politicsandprose.com.